What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with Pixel 6a camera tips and tricks. So definitely stay tuned if you want to get the most out of all the various cameras on your device. Now, one of the major selling points for the Google Pixel 6a definitely has to be the cameras. Considering that this phone is a mid-range device, we really are getting nearly flagship quality cameras with it, which is certainly a really good thing and does make this phone a very good value. Now, on the back of the device, we have a dual camera setup with a 12.2 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. And then with the front facing camera, it is 8 megapixels. Now, if you're looking for a very quick and easy way to access the camera app, all you have to do is just double press on the power button, and then it'll pull up the camera app right away. So that's very convenient. And if you want to easily switch between the rear camera and the front camera, or vice versa, all you have to do when the camera is opened up here is just twist it, and it'll then flip the camera around. So we'll try that out one more time. So that's very convenient as well there. Definitely a very quick and easy way to flip the camera. Now, if you do want to switch from the default camera to the ultra wide angle camera, just tap on this 0.6 and that will switch things over to the ultra wide. And then if you go over to the 2, that does zoom things in at 2x. However, keep in mind that this phone doesn't have a telephoto camera, so it is just a digital zoom. Then in the bottom panel of the camera interface, on the left here, we have night sight. So this is certainly ideal when taking photos when it's dark outside. We have portrait mode. We also have, of course, the main camera mode here, video. And then we have several other modes, including panorama, photosphere, and Google Lens. Now, heading back into the main camera mode, if you're looking for a lot of different camera settings and toggles, just swipe down and they'll pull up right here. So you can see, for example, the first one here is to toggle the flash. So you can have the flash off, you can have it be on auto, or you can have it be on at all times. There's also Top Shot. So with Top Shot enabled, the device will include a short video to capture more of the moment, and your Pixel will suggest frames that are worth saving. So that's certainly a very cool and unique feature there. Certainly something that is worth testing out. We also have the timer. So if you want no timer, of course, you don't have to, but there's also 3 seconds or 10 seconds. And then we do have several different aspect ratios for capturing images. You can do 4:3, which is the default here, or you can switch over to 16:9, which is certainly ideal for capturing thumbnail images. So in the video section here, you can see that we have options for slow motion. There's also time lapse. There's this option on the right side here for stabilization. So you can have standard stabilization, you can lock the stabilization, you can have active stabilization if there's a lot of movement, and then also cinematic pan for smooth panning shots. Now, with all this content that you're going to be capturing, you will have to, of course, have it go somewhere. So of course, it's going to end up on the device itself, but we do have 2 different options. So in the upper right corner here, you'll see this little folder, and if you go there, you can see that you can either save it to the photo gallery, or you can have it be saved to a locked folder. So that's pretty awesome that technically you can capture images and have them be in a separate folder that is then locked and secured. So in addition to the settings that I showed you, there are even more advanced settings. So go to the gear icon in the upper left here, then go to more settings right there, and then you'll see that we have a lot of different options. So there's save location. I typically keep that enabled, but if you don't want to have that data be connected to your content, whether it's photos or videos, you don't have to. Now this one's interesting, it's camera sounds. So when you take a photo, by default, it does make a noise. And that's not really a huge deal for me, but if you don't want it to make a noise, then just go back to this area and then turn camera sounds off. And then now, when you take a photo or capture a video, it is completely silent. So that's nice that we have the ability to toggle that and change that. Now there's also gestures. So we'll go here. And you can see that the volume key, you can have that do various actions. So by default, the volume key does act as the shutter. So if you're taking a photo or a video, you can, instead of tapping on the main shutter button, just use the volume button and it'll capture that image. Now we'll go back here and customize that. And you can see that we have the option for it to do zoom instead, or you can have the volume keys act as actual volume control. You can switch over to that if you don't want it to do either the shutter or zoom, but we'll try out zoom next. And then now you do volume up to zoom in, and then volume down to zoom out. And if you go all the way down, it then switches things over to the ultra wide angle camera. Now heading back over to the camera settings, you'll see next here we do have device storage, But under this, there is storage saver. So if you're like me, you probably take a lot of photos and videos, and it ends up filling up your device, especially as time goes on. Now, storage saver is pretty interesting because with this enabled, it will optimize the storage space, and also it will change certain settings that use large amounts of storage. Now, this may reduce your image or video quality, but again, with this enabled, it won't take up nearly as much storage. And it does show you what settings that it does end up changing. Now, if that was not enough, we have even more advanced settings. So when you go here, there's a lot of different options. Now, many of these are enabled already by default, but you can see, for example, we have show dirty lens warning. So there will be a warning if your lens is dirty so that you can clean it so you can take much clearer photos. There's also the option here for raw image capture, so you can do that. We have video efficiency, so it will store it in a more efficient format. There's also social media depth features, enable time-lapse for astrophotography, and then also the timer light if you end up using the timer to capture images. Now you might have noticed that there is a leveler enabled here by default, so that does kind of give you a better idea of how to position the phone to take more level photos. If you don't want that, you can go back to the more settings and then disable that right there. Now another option that might be worth enabling, especially if you like to use the rule of thirds when capturing images, is the grid type. So you can pick a lot of different grid options here, but we'll do 3x3 to start with. And then when you go back here, we now have a grid dividing it into 9 different rectangles. And then one more option I want to show you here is camera photo resolution. So by default, it does capture images at the full resolution, but if you want to, you can have it do medium resolution instead to use less storage. Now, if you want other additional toggles, maybe you want to brighten things up, for example, then just tap on the viewfinder and then you'll have different abilities to adjust the temperature, for example. You can also brighten things up, darken things, and then also the ability here for contrast. Now heading back over to video mode, I did show you these toggles right here, but if you do swipe down, you'll see that you do have the ability to have the flash on at all times when capturing a video. And then also there is the choice for 1080p resolution or 4K. And you can also switch the frame rate, so you can do 30 FPS, 60 FPS, and then you can also just do auto if you want to as well. So they'll decide based on the situation that you're in for which frame rate it should do. And then if you do switch over to 4K, you still do have that option for 60 FPS, which is pretty cool. However, keep in mind that with this device, there is no 4K video recording supported for the front-facing camera. However, we do have selfie illumination, so you can enable that to brighten things up a little bit when you're taking a selfie. So it'll just put more light on you, as you can imagine. And then also there is speech enhancement. So with speech enhancement, essentially it's going to get rid of a lot of background noise and really focus on your speech when taking a selfie video. Now this is only for front-facing videos, it's not for rear videos, so keep that in mind, but still a really cool feature, especially if you're a content creator. So overall, there's a lot of really awesome features when it comes to the camera app on the Google Pixel 6a. Of course, this device has many great cameras. That's one of the major selling points of it. And I certainly think with this iteration of the Pixel A series, they've continued to build upon their strengths. And it's really cool to see that as time goes on, they're further refining these devices to make what's already a great phone even better. But this concludes my video on camera tips and tricks for the Google Pixel 6a. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. But this is Kevin here. I am part of Team Pixel, and this phone is a gift from Google, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.